The wind howled across the empty fields. Dark clouds covered the night sky. Rain fell so hard that it sounded like thousands of tiny stones hitting the ground. Most people in the small town of Oak Ridge were already asleep. The streets were empty. The houses were dark. Everything looked peaceful, but far above the clouds. Something impossible was happening. A bright red light moved silently across the sky. It was not an airplane. It was not a shooting star. And it was moving much too fast. For only a moment, the strange light appeared. Then it vanished into the darkness. Nobody in town noticed it, nobody except one little girl. She stood alone beside an old road several miles from town. Her clothes were wet from the rain. Her long silver hair stuck to her face. She looked no older than 9 years old. But her eyes carried a sadness that no child should have. The girl looked toward the sky. Fear filled her face. Then she started running. She ran through mud. She ran through puddles. She ran as fast as her small legs could carry her. Every few seconds she looked behind her, as if something terrible was following her. Something she could not escape. Meanwhile, on the edge of town, a man named Nathan Brooks sat inside his farmhouse. A warm fire burned inside the living room. The storm outside made the windows shake. Nathan looked up from the book in his hands. He checked the clock on the wall. 11:42 p.m. Late, very late. His wife Emily was already asleep upstairs. Their 10-year-old daughter Lily had gone to bed hours ago. The house was quiet. Nathan enjoyed nights like this. No noise, no work, no problems, just peace. Then came a knock at the door. Nathan frowned. Nobody visited this late, especially during a storm. For several seconds he listened. Maybe he had imagined it. Then another knock came, louder this time. Knock, knock, knock. Neth slowly stood up. A strange feeling appeared in his stomach. Something felt wrong. He walked toward the front door. The storm continued roaring outside. The knocking stopped for a moment. The house became completely silent. Nathan unlocked the door, then opened it. Cold wind rushed inside. Rain sprayed across the floor. At first he saw nothing. Only darkness, only the empty porch. Then he looked down and froze. A little girl stood in front of him. She was soaked from head to toe. Her hands trembled from the cold. Mud covered her shoes. Nathan had never seen her before. The girl looked exhausted, like she had been running for a very long time. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Then the girl slowly lifted her head. Her bright blue eyes met his. Nathan immediately noticed something strange. Her eyes seemed almost to glow, not brightly, just enough to seem unusual. The girl opened her mouth. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Please help me." Nathan's heart tightened. She looked terrified, not the kind of fear caused by a storm. This was something deeper, something much worse. "Are you hurt?" Nathan asked. The girl shook her head. "No. Where are your parents?" The girl's face suddenly became pale. She looked away, as if she did not want to answer. Nathan waited, but no answer came. Instead, the girl looked behind her, toward the dark road. Fear appeared in her eyes again, a fear so strong that it made Nathan uneasy. Then she spoke. "They are coming." Nathan frowned. "Who is coming?" The girl's breathing became faster. "They must not find me." Before Nathan could ask another question, the girl collapsed. Her body fell forward. Nathan barely caught her before she hit the ground. "Hey!" The girl did not respond. She had lost consciousness. Nathan quickly carried her inside. He closed the door behind him. The warm air from the house slowly surrounded her. A few moments later, Emily rushed downstairs after hearing the noise. "What happened?" she asked. Nathan carefully placed the girl on the couch. "I found her outside." Emily stared in shock. "A child?" Nathan nodded. She was alone in the storm. Emily immediately grabbed blankets. Together they covered the girl. A few minutes later, Lily appeared at the top of the stairs. She rubbed her eyes sleepily. "Mom?" Then she noticed the girl on the couch. Her eyes widened. "Who is she?" Nobody had an answer. The little girl remained unconscious. The family could only watch and wait. Outside, the storm continued. Thunder shook the sky, far above Earth. Hidden beyond the clouds, a massive black ship appeared silently in orbit. Then another, and another. Within minutes, dozens of enormous ships surrounded the planet. Each one larger than a city. Inside one of the ships, a glowing image appeared on a giant screen. It showed the face of the silver-haired girl sleeping on Nathan's couch. An alien officer stared at the image, then spoke words that would have terrified every person on Earth. "The target has been located. Begin planetary search procedures immediately." Back inside the farmhouse, the girl suddenly moved. Her eyes slowly opened for a brief moment. A strange golden light flashed inside them. Then she looked directly at Nathan and whispered 4 words, words that made no sense, yet somehow filled the room with fear. "They found me again." To be continued. The room became silent. Nobody knew what the girl's words meant. Nathan stared at her. Emily looked worried. Even young Lily felt a chill run through her body. The silver-haired girl lay on the couch. Her eyes were open now, but she still looked weak. Rain continued hitting the windows outside. The storm showed no signs of stopping. Nathan stepped closer. "Who found you?" he asked gently. The girl immediately became nervous. Her eyes moved toward the window, then toward the front door, as if she expected someone to break into the house at any second. She pulled the blanket tighter around herself. "I cannot stay here," she whispered. "You need rest," Emily said. "You can barely stand." The girl shook her head. "No place is safe." Nathan exchanged a glance with his wife. The child looked terrified, not confused, not lost, terrified. Like someone had spent a very long time running from danger. Lily slowly walked closer. She was curious despite the strange situation. The silver-haired girl looked about her age. Maybe a year younger. "What is your name?" Lily asked softly. For a moment the girl said nothing. Her expression changed, almost as if the question hurt. She looked down at her hands, then quietly answered. "Aya." The room relaxed slightly. At least they finally knew her name. "Well, Aya," Emily said kindly. "You are safe tonight." Aya looked at her. Something strange appeared in her eyes. Not relief, not happiness, almost sadness. "You should not say that," she replied. "Why?" Nathan asked. Aya did not answer. Instead, she stared at the floor. The silence returned. A few minutes later, Emily brought warm soup. Aya looked at the bowl carefully, as if she had never seen it before. Then she slowly began eating. Nathan noticed something strange. The child looked hungry, very hungry, yet she ate slowly and politely, like someone who had learned strict manners long ago. Lily sat beside her, trying to make conversation. "Do you live near here?" Aya shook her head. "No." "Then where do you live?" Again, no answer. Lily frowned. "Do you have a family?" This time, Aya stopped moving completely. The spoon froze in her hand. For several seconds, she simply stared into the soup. Then she quietly said, "Not anymore." The sadness in her voice filled the room. Nobody asked another question. Hours passed. The storm slowly weakened. Around 1 in the morning, Emily prepared a guest room. Aya stood and followed her upstairs, but halfway up the stairs, every light inside the house suddenly flickered. Once, twice, 3 times, then everything went dark. The entire house lost power. "What happened?" Lily asked. Nathan grabbed a flashlight. "Probably the storm," but before he could turn it on, the lights came back. Every bulb in the house flashed brightly, brighter than normal, then returned to normal again. Nathan frowned. That had never happened before. He looked toward Aya. The girl stood perfectly still. Her face had become pale. "What's wrong?" Emily asked. Aya swallowed nervously. They are getting closer. The adults exchanged worried looks. Again those strange words, again that fear. Before anyone could ask more questions, a loud sound came from outside. Whoom! The entire house vibrated. Pictures rattled on the walls. Everyone froze. Nathan immediately ran toward the front window. The road outside was empty. The fields were empty. Nothing was there. Yet something had definitely happened, far away beyond the trees. A faint red glow briefly appeared in the sky, then vanished. Nathan's heartbeat quickened. The glow looked exactly like the strange lights people sometimes reported seeing during storms. But this felt different, much different, behind him. Aya was staring toward the same window. Her expression filled with horror. "No," she whispered. Nathan turned toward her. "What is it?" Aya slowly stepped backward. "They are searching." "Who is searching?" Aya's breathing became faster. "They never stop." Nathan walked toward her, trying to calm her. "Aya, listen to me." "No," she interrupted. "You don't understand." For the first time, real panic appeared in her voice. "If they find me here, everyone dies." The words hit the room like ice. Emily stared at the child. Lily looked frightened. Nathan knelt in front of her. "Nobody is dying." Aya looked directly into his eyes, then said something that made his blood run cold. That is what every family said before they disappeared. Silence filled the room. Nobody knew how to respond. Then suddenly, the television in the living room turned on by itself. Everyone jumped. Static filled the screen. Loud crackling sounds echoed through the house. Nathan rushed downstairs. The others followed. The television continued flickering wildly. Channels changed on their own. Images flashed too quickly to understand. Then everything stopped. A single image appeared. The face of the silver-haired girl, Aya. The exact same picture repeated again and again across the screen. Lily gasped. Emily covered her mouth. Nathan stared in disbelief. Below the image were words he could not understand, strange symbols, unknown language. But one thing was clear. The picture was not random. Someone or something was looking for Aya. The screen suddenly changed again. This time a number appeared. A number so large that Nathan could barely believe it. Rows and rows of digits filled the television. Billions, trillions, far beyond anything he had ever seen. Aya looked at the screen, and all color disappeared from her face. Because she already knew what the number meant. It was the reward for finding her. And somewhere above Earth, thousands of ships were already moving closer, to be continued. Nobody spoke for several seconds. The strange image remained on the television. Aya's face filled the screen. Under it stood the enormous reward number. Nathan could not understand the alien symbols. But he did not need to. The message was obvious. Someone was searching for the little girl. And they wanted her badly. The television suddenly went black. The room became silent again. Only the sound of rain could be heard outside. Lily slowly moved closer to Aya. "Why is your picture on the screen?" she asked. Aya looked down. Her hands trembled. Nathan noticed that she was trying very hard not to panic. But fear was winning. Emily sat beside her. "Aya," she said gently, "we are not angry. We just need the truth." For a long moment, Aya remained silent. Then she finally spoke. "They will come here." Nathan frowned. "Who?" Aya looked toward the dark window. "The hunters." A cold feeling passed through the room. The way she said those words made them sound far worse than ordinary people. Nathan crossed his arms. "Hunters from where?" Aya slowly raised her eyes. "From the stars." The room fell silent once again. Lily almost laughed. It sounded impossible. Like something from a movie. But when she saw Aya's face, the laughter never came. The girl was completely serious. Nathan wanted to ask more questions. But before he could, a loud rumble shook the house. Not thunder, something different. The floor vibrated beneath their feet. The windows rattled, then everything stopped. Nathan rushed outside onto the porch. The rain had finally weakened. Dark clouds still covered most of the sky, but gaps had begun opening between them. At first he saw nothing. Then his eyes widened. Far above the clouds, several red lights moved across the night sky. They traveled silently, too fast, too smoothly. No airplane moved like that, no helicopter either. Nathan stared at them until they disappeared. A strange feeling settled deep inside his chest. Back inside, Aya had become even more nervous. She kept looking toward the ceiling, as if she could somehow see what was happening above Earth. Emily handed her a glass of water. "You need to calm down." Aya accepted it, but she never drank. "They found the planet faster this time," she whispered. Nathan returned from outside. "What did you mean by that?" Aya immediately realized she had spoken aloud. Her expression tightened. For a second she seemed unsure whether to answer. Then she quietly said, "I have been running for a long time." Nathan pulled a chair closer. "Running from who?" Aya stared at the floor. "The ones who fear me." The answer only created more questions. Emily shook her head. "You're just a child." Aya slowly looked at her. A strange sadness appeared in her eyes. "That is what everyone thinks." The room became silent again. Nathan noticed something unusual every time Aya spoke about herself. It felt like she was hiding much more than she revealed, as if she carried a secret too large to explain. Upstairs, a clock suddenly stopped ticking. Nobody noticed at first. Then another clock stopped, and another. Every clock inside the farmhouse froze at exactly the same second. 11:59. Nathan frowned. "That's strange." Lily checked her wristwatch. Even it had stopped. The second hand refused to move. Emily looked confused. How is that possible? Only Aya seemed unsurprised. Her eyes slowly closed. "No," she whispered. The lights flickered again. The television turned on by itself. Then the radio started playing static. Kitchen appliances activated without warning. The house seemed to come alive. Electricity surged through every room. Nathan quickly pulled plugs from the walls. But it made no difference. The strange activity continued. Then every device suddenly shut off at once. Silence, complete silence. Aya stood up so quickly that the blanket fell to the floor. "They are scanning." Nathan stared at her. "Scanning for what?" "For me." At that exact moment, hundreds of kilometers above Earth, a giant black warship floated silently in orbit. It was larger than an entire city. Thousands of smaller vessels surrounded it. Inside the command center, rows of glowing screens filled the room. Alien officers moved between stations, watching data flow across giant displays. At the center stood a tall figure wearing dark armor. His face was hidden behind a silver mask. One officer stepped forward. "Commander, the target signal has appeared again." The masked figure turned. "Location?" The officer hesitated, still uncertain. "But the signal is definitely hers." The commander's hands tightened behind his back. For a moment nobody spoke. Then he gave a single order. "Prepare retrieval teams." The room instantly became busy. Officers rushed to their stations. Orders spread across the fleet. After years of searching, they were finally close. Very close back on Earth. Aya suddenly grabbed her head. Pain flashed across her face. Lily rushed toward her. "Aya!" The girl stumbled. Nathan caught her before she fell. For a brief second, something impossible happened. A faint golden light appeared beneath Aya's skin. Tiny glowing lines spread across her arms, like rivers of light flowing through her body. Then they vanished. Everyone froze. Nobody knew what they had just seen, but one thing became clear. Aya was not an ordinary child, not even close. The girl slowly opened her eyes. Fear filled them, not fear for herself. Fear for the people around her. Then she looked directly at Nathan, Emily, and Lily. and spoke the words she had hoped never to say again. They know where I am now, outside high above the clouds. Small points of light began descending toward Earth, to be continued. The lights in the farmhouse finally stopped flickering. The strange sounds were gone, the television remained dark. Everything looked normal again. But nobody in the room felt normal. Nathan, Emily, and Lily could not forget what they had just seen. The golden light beneath Aya's skin, the strange machines reacting to her presence, the impossible message on the television, and now the descending lights in the sky. Something was happening. Something far beyond their understanding. Aya sat quietly on the couch, her face looked exhausted. For the first time since arriving at the farmhouse, she seemed less like a frightened child, and more like someone carrying a burden too heavy for one person. Nathan pulled a chair closer. He knew avoiding the truth was no longer possible. Aya, he said calmly. No more secrets. The girl lowered her eyes. You deserve answers. Nathan nodded. Then tell us the truth. For several seconds, Aya remained silent. The ticking of the wall clock filled the room. Finally she spoke. My real story is difficult to explain. We will listen, Emily replied. Aya looked toward the window. The rain had almost stopped now. Only a few drops slid down the glass. When I was small, Aya began. My people lived among the stars. Lily listened carefully. The words sounded like the beginning of a fairy tale, but nobody interrupted. Aya continued. There were many worlds, many cities, many families. We thought our future would last forever. A sadness entered her voice, then she stopped speaking. Nathan noticed her hands tightening around the blanket. What happened? He asked. Aya closed her eyes. They disappeared. The room became silent. All of them? Emily asked softly. Aya nodded. Everyone. Lily felt her stomach tighten. The answer sounded impossible. How could an entire civilization disappear? Nathan leaned forward. Because of a war? Aya slowly shook her head. No. A disease? No. Then what happened? Aya opened her eyes, and for the first time, real fear appeared in them. They found us. The words sent a chill through the room. Nathan noticed something strange. Every time Aya talked about these mysterious enemies, her voice became quieter, as if even speaking about them was dangerous. Before anyone could ask another question, Aya suddenly looked at the fireplace. Her expression changed. Confusion appeared on her face. Then she stood up, slowly walking toward it. Nathan frowned. What is it? Aya did not answer. She stopped directly in front of the stone fireplace, then reached out her hand. The moment her fingers touched the stone, something happened. A low hum filled the room. Everyone froze. A thin blue line appeared across the fireplace. Then another. Then dozens more. The stone wall began glowing. Lily's mouth fell open. What is that? Nobody knew. The glowing lines spread across the surface, creating strange symbols, symbols unlike any language Nathan had ever seen. Aya stared at them in shock, as if she had not expected this either. Then one symbol suddenly brightened. A beam of blue light shot upward. A giant image appeared in the center of the room. Emily gasped. Nathan nearly fell from his chair. A star map floated before them. Thousands of stars glowed inside the hologram. Bright lines connected distant worlds. Ancient symbols moved slowly across its surface. The image looked impossibly advanced, far beyond anything humans possessed. Aya stared at the map, her eyes growing wider and wider. No, she whispered. Lily looked at her. You know what it is? Aya nodded slowly. It should not exist anymore. Nathan stepped closer to the hologram. What is it? Aya swallowed. It is a pathfinder. A path to what? The girl stared at a distant point on the map. A single golden star, unlike all the others. Its light pulsed slowly, almost like a heartbeat. Aya's voice became barely audible. Home. The room fell silent. Nathan looked back at her. You mean your home world? Aya hesitated, then nodded. But that's impossible, Nathan frowned. Why? Aya's eyes filled with confusion. Because it was destroyed. Everyone stared at the floating map. If her world had truly been destroyed, then why was it appearing here? And why had the fireplace been hiding such technology? Suddenly, one section of the star map changed color. The golden star began flashing rapidly. Warning symbols appeared around it. A sharp alarm echoed through the room. Aya's face instantly turned pale. No. The alarm grew louder. The symbols multiplied. Nathan looked around nervously. What does it mean? Aya stared at the flashing warnings, her hands trembling. It means someone activated the beacon. Who? Aya slowly looked upward, toward the sky. Toward the stars beyond Earth, then she answered. The hunters, at that exact moment, inside the giant warship orbiting Earth. The same golden star appeared on the commander's screen. An officer jumped from his station. Commander! We found it! The masked figure turned immediately. Years of searching, years of failure. And now the impossible signal had finally appeared. The officer's voice shook with excitement. The ancient Pathfinder has activated. The commander's eyes narrowed behind his mask. And the target? The officer smiled. The target activated it personally. Silence filled the command center. Then the commander spoke one cold sentence. Launch the retrieval teams. Back in the farmhouse, the hologram suddenly shifted. The image zoomed toward the golden star, faster and faster, until a single message appeared in glowing symbols. Aya stared at the words, and all color disappeared from her face. Nathan immediately noticed. What does it say? Aya did not answer right away. When she finally spoke, her voice was filled with horror. It says. She swallowed hard, then whispered. The prison is opening, and somewhere far beyond the stars. Something ancient had just awakened, to be continued. Nobody in the farmhouse moved. The words hung in the air like a shadow. The prison is opening. Nathan stared at Aya. Emily felt a chill run through her body. Even Lily, who did not fully understand what was happening, knew those words were bad, very bad. The blue hologram continued floating above the floor. The golden star flashed again, then again. Each pulse seemed stronger than the last. Aya looked as if she had seen a ghost. Her eyes never left the image. Nathan stepped closer. What prison? He asked. Aya did not answer immediately. For several seconds, she simply stared at the star map. Then she quietly said, The prison nobody was ever supposed to find. The room became silent. Lily frowned. You mean a real prison? Aya slowly nodded. But not for criminals. Nathan crossed his arms. Then what was inside? Aya opened her mouth, but before she could answer, the entire hologram suddenly shook. Lines of light raced across the star map. Warning symbols appeared everywhere. The strange alarm returned. Louder than before, Aya's face turned pale. They found the signal. Nathan felt his stomach tighten. The hunters? Aya nodded. They know exactly where I am now, outside. The wind suddenly became stronger. The trees around the farmhouse bent violently. Clouds moved unnaturally fast across the sky. A distant rumble echoed from above. Not thunder, something else, something much larger. Nathan rushed toward the front window. The others followed. The storm clouds were breaking apart, and through the opening sky, several bright objects could be seen descending toward Earth. At first they looked like shooting stars. Then Nathan realized they were slowing down, controlled, intentional. They were coming directly toward the region. Emily covered her mouth. What are those? Aya already knew. Retrieval ships. Lily looked confused. Retrieval? Aya swallowed hard. They are coming for me. The fear in her voice was impossible to ignore. Nathan looked back at her. For the first time, he understood one thing clearly. The little girl was not imagining things. Everything she had warned them about was real. Very real. Suddenly the hologram changed again. The golden star vanished. A new image appeared. A planet, dark, broken, surrounded by glowing debris. The sight made Aya freeze. Nathan looked at her. "Do you know that world?" Aya nodded slowly. Tears appeared in her eyes. "That was my home." The room became completely silent. Lily looked at the ruined planet. It was hard to imagine an entire civilization living there. Harder still to imagine losing it all. Aya took a shaky breath. "My people built the prison long ago." Nathan turned toward her. "What was inside?" This time Aya answered, "Something older than my species." Emily frowned. "Older?" Aya nodded. "Much older." The hologram zoomed closer to the ruined planet. Ancient structures appeared across its surface. Massive towers, huge rings, machines larger than cities. The technology looked impossible, far beyond anything humans had ever created. Aya pointed toward one enormous structure near the planet's equator. "That was the seal, the prison seal." Nathan stared at it. "And now it's opening?" Aya lowered her head. "Yes." A heavy silence followed. Then Lily asked the question nobody else wanted to ask. "What happens if it opens completely?" Aya looked at her. The answer came quietly. "Everyone dies." Nobody spoke after that. The words were too serious, too terrifying. Then suddenly every light in the farmhouse went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Emily gasped. Nathan immediately grabbed a flashlight before he could turn it on. A bright blue glow appeared outside. The entire yard lit up. Lily rushed to the window. Her eyes widened. Something was hovering above the fields. A craft, silent, black, its shape unlike any aircraft on Earth. The object floated only a few hundred meters away. Blue lights glowed along its surface. Nathan felt his heartbeat increase. The ship was real. There was no denying it now. The hunters had arrived. Aya stepped backward. Fear filled her face. "They're here already." Then another blue light appeared in the distance, and another, and another. More ships, descending from the sky, surrounding the area. Nathan looked at Emily, then at Lily. Neither of them spoke. They did not need to. The danger had reached their doorstep. Suddenly the hologram flashed one final time. A new message appeared across the floating star map. Unlike the earlier symbols, these words were translated automatically. Everyone could read them. Nathan's eyes widened. Emily froze. Lily felt her stomach drop. The message contained only one sentence. "Primary target confirmed, retrieval operation authorized." The hologram vanished. At the exact same moment, 3 bright beams of light shot down from the sky, landing directly in the field outside the farmhouse. Nathan stared through the window, unable to believe what he was seeing. Tall figures began stepping out of the glowing columns. Their armor reflected the blue light. Their movements were calm, precise, professional, like soldiers who had done this many times before. Aya looked at them, and all hope disappeared from her face, because she recognized the symbol on their armor, the symbol of the people who had hunted her across the stars. For longer than anyone on Earth could imagine, Nathan slowly moved in front of Aya, protecting her without even thinking about it. The little girl looked up at him in surprise, then toward the approaching soldiers. The lead figure stopped outside the farmhouse gate. A glowing weapon appeared in his hand. Then a mechanical voice echoed through the night, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Target Aya. Surrender immediately." The voice paused, then added something that made Aya's blood run cold. "We know who you really are." To be continued. The cold mechanical voice echoed across the farm. "Target Aya. Surrender immediately. We know who you really are." Silence followed. The wind moved through the fields. The blue lights from the alien ships covered the ground. Nathan stood in front of Aya. His heart was racing, but he did not move. Emily pulled Lily closer. Neither of them could take their eyes off the figures outside. The soldiers remained perfectly still, waiting, watching. Aya's face had become completely pale. Not because of the weapons, not because of the ships, but because of the final words. "We know who you really are." For a long moment nobody spoke. Then Nathan looked back at her. "What do they mean?" Aya lowered her eyes. The answer did not come outside. The lead soldier took another step forward. His dark armor reflected the blue light. Again, his voice echoed through the night. "This is your final warning. Surrender peacefully." Aya's hands trembled. Nathan noticed something. She looked afraid, but not for herself. She kept looking toward Nathan, Emily, and Lily. As if she feared what might happen to them, the soldier raised his weapon. "We do not wish to harm the humans," Aya suddenly laughed. A small bitter laugh. The sound surprised everyone. The soldier became silent. Aya slowly stepped forward, past Nathan, past the living room window, and looked directly at the soldiers outside. "You always say that." Her voice was calm now, far calmer than before. The lead soldier did not answer. Aya continued. "Then people die anyway, for the first time." The soldier hesitated, only for a second, but Nathan noticed it. The man knew something, something important. Aya turned away from the window. She looked at the family, her eyes filled with sadness. "There is something I never told you," Nathan nodded slowly. "I figured that much." Aya managed a weak smile. Then she looked toward the floor. "My name is not really Aya." The room became silent. Lily blinked. "What?" Aya took a deep breath. "Aya is the name I use when I hide." Emily stared at her. "Then what is your real name?" The little girl remained silent for several seconds. As if speaking the answer hurt, finally she whispered, "Aurelia." The moment the word left her mouth, something happened. The air itself seemed to vibrate. The lights inside the farmhouse flickered. Outside, every soldier suddenly froze. Their helmets turned toward the house. The lead soldier lowered his head, almost like a sign of respect. Nathan noticed immediately. They recognized the name. And they feared it. Lily looked confused. "It's just a name." Aya shook her head. "No." Then she spoke words that changed everything. "It is the oldest name in the galaxy." Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The sentence felt impossible. Nathan stared at her. "What does that mean?" Aya looked toward the stars. "My people disappeared long before human history began. Long before most civilizations existed. The galaxy thinks I disappeared with them." Nathan frowned. "How old are you?" Aya closed her eyes. The answer came quietly. "I don't know anymore." The room became silent again. Then she added, "The last time I counted." It had been over 20,000 years. Emily nearly dropped the chair she was holding. Lily's mouth fell open. Nathan could barely believe what he had heard. 20,000 years. It was impossible, completely impossible. Yet nothing about this night had been normal. Outside, the lead soldier activated a communication device. His voice became urgent. "Command, the Ancient One has confirmed her identity, inside orbit." A massive command center immediately came alive. Dozens of officers turned toward their screens. The masked commander stood from his chair. For years he had searched. For years he had chased legends. And now the legend was standing on Earth. At last, the officer looked at him. "Commander, orders?" The masked figure stared at Aurelia's image, then quietly replied, "Prepare the containment fleet." Back in the farmhouse, Aya Aurelia walked toward the holographic fireplace. The star map suddenly activated again. Blue light filled the room. The golden star reappeared. But this time something was different. A dark shape could be seen near it, something enormous. Something moving. Aurelia froze. "No." Nathan stepped closer. "What is it?" Her voice trembled. It escaped. The words hit the room like a hammer. The dark shape moved across the hologram, larger than planets, larger than fleets. an ancient shadow traveling through space. Lily felt fear rise in her chest. What escaped? Aurelia stared at the image. The sadness in her eyes was deeper than ever. The thing inside the prison. Nathan looked at the approaching shape. Can it be stopped? For several seconds, Aurelia did not answer. Then she finally nodded. Maybe. The word offered little comfort. Outside, more ships appeared in the sky. Dozens became hundreds. Blue lights filled the clouds. The entire region was surrounded. Earth had become the center of something enormous. Something ancient, something humanity did not yet understand. Then suddenly, every screen in the farmhouse activated. Television, radio phones, computers, all at once, a single image appeared. The face of the masked commander, his voice echoed through every device. Not only in the house, but across the entire planet. Aurelia, you cannot run anymore, the commander paused. Then spoke words that made everyone's blood run cold. The devourer has awakened, and only you know how to stop it. Aurelia stared at the screen. Her face filled with shock, because the commander had just revealed a secret she hoped would remain buried forever. The truth about why the galaxy feared her, and why they had hunted her for thousands of years to be continued. The commander's face remained on every screen. His cold voice echoed through the farmhouse. The devourer has awakened, and only you know how to stop it. Nobody spoke. The room felt frozen in time. Nathan stared at Aurelia. Emily looked between the girl and the screen. Lily could barely breathe. The name itself sounded terrifying. The devourer. Aurelia lowered her head, as if hearing that name had opened an old wound. Outside, hundreds of alien ships filled the sky. Their blue lights shined through the clouds. The night no longer looked like Earth. It looked like the beginning of an invasion. The commander continued speaking. Aurelia, for 20,000 years the galaxy searched for you. Not because we wanted revenge, because we needed answers. The girl's eyes narrowed. You are lying. The commander remained calm. Am I? Aurelia looked away, for the first time since arriving at the farmhouse. She seemed uncertain. Nathan noticed it immediately. There was something she was not saying, something important. The commander turned slightly toward the camera. Tell them the truth. Aurelia remained silent. Tell the humans what happened to your civilization. The room became completely quiet. Nathan slowly stepped closer. Aurelia, what truth? The little girl closed her eyes. For several seconds nobody moved, then she finally spoke. My people found something. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Something ancient. The holographic star map suddenly activated again. Blue light filled the room. Images appeared above the floor. Ancient star systems, strange worlds, massive structures floating in space. Aurelia looked at them sadly. Thousands of years ago, my people explored beyond known space. We believed there was nothing we could not understand. A bitter smile appeared on her face. We were wrong. The star map changed. A dark object appeared, huge, endless, unlike any ship or planet. Nathan felt uneasy just looking at it. What is that? Lily asked. Aurelia stared at the image. The devourer. The room became silent. The dark shape slowly moved through the hologram. Stars vanished wherever it passed. Entire systems disappeared, like candles being blown out. Emily felt a chill. It destroys planets? Aurelia shook her head. Worse, it destroys life. The words settled heavily in the room. Nathan watched the image carefully. The thing looked alive. Ancient, hungry, Aurelia continued. My people fought it. We lost worlds. We lost fleets. We lost billions. The hologram showed massive battles, countless ships burning in space. Entire civilizations collapsing. Then a new image appeared. A younger Aurelia standing before a giant machine. Nathan stared. The girl looked exactly the same. Not older, not younger, exactly the same. Lily noticed too. You really were there, Aurelia nodded. Yes, the hologram shifted again. The giant machine activated. Golden energy surrounded the devourer. Chains of light wrapped around it, slowly dragging it into darkness. "The prison," Nathan whispered. Aurelia nodded. "My people built it, and I activated it." The room finally understood. She had not created the monster, she had stopped it. Yet something still did not make sense. Nathan looked at her. "Then why does the galaxy fear you?" Aurelia's expression darkened. The answer came slowly. "Because I was the only survivor." Everyone stared. The commander spoke from the screen. "That is not the whole truth." Aurelia immediately looked angry. "Enough," but the commander continued. "When the prison was activated, Aurelia made a choice. The hologram changed once more. A final memory appeared. Ancient cities, families, children, entire worlds. Then a golden wave spread across the stars. System after system disappeared, not destroyed, gone." Nathan's eyes widened. What happened? Aurelia looked away, tears forming in her eyes. "I moved them." Silence. Emily frowned. "Moved them where?" Aurelia pointed toward the golden star on the map. The hidden world, the same world they had seen earlier. The lost home world, the prison world. The commander nodded. "You saved your people, but then you vanished. The galaxy spent 20,000 years believing everyone was dead." Aurelia slowly sat down. Exhaustion covered her face. "I stayed away because if anyone found the prison, they would open it." Nathan finally understood. Everything she had done, everything she had endured, every year spent running had been to keep the devourer trapped. The galaxy feared her because they did not know the truth. They believed she had destroyed her civilization, when in reality she had sacrificed everything to save it. Suddenly the hologram flashed red. An alarm echoed through the room. Aurelia's eyes widened. The commander immediately turned towards someone off-screen. What happened? The answer came from a frightened officer. "Commander, the devourer has changed course." The commander's expression hardened. "Destination?" The officer swallowed, then spoke two words that made the room freeze. "Planet Earth." Silence. Complete silence. Nathan looked at Aurelia. Emily held Lily tightly. Outside, hundreds of ships began moving into formation, preparing for war, for the first time in thousands of years. The ancient nightmare was coming, and it was heading directly toward humanity. Aurelia slowly stood. Fear remained in her eyes. But something else appeared beside it. Determination, because she knew one thing. If Earth fell, everything fell, and far beyond the stars. The devourer was already coming.